Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Jaeger-LeCoultre Geophysic True Second. You can see this 18-karat red gold deadbeat second automatic Jaeger-LeCoultre on our website. Purchase it there, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos. You can also click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see additional high-resolution images of this watch, accessories included with the sale, and of course complete pricing information. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this watch is quite a bit larger than the 1958 Jaeger-LeCoultre Geophysic. That watch at 35 millimeters was a technology leader for its time. This watch equally so for our time, but in a larger case, 40 millimeters across the round, not including the crown. It's wonderfully slim. The timepiece is only 12 millimeters thick, but you'll note, due to the dramatic conical slope of the bezel, it does wear thinner, and it's easy to get a dress cuff or a tight sleeve up and over this watch. Now, from lug to lug, extremity to extremity across the wrist, the watch measures 47 millimeters, so it's easy to wear this one on a wrist of normal or even slightly petite size. I would say down to about 14.5 centimeters in circumference. You should wear this watch with great security and style. It has a nice heft to it, rose gold, fairly broad sweeping lugs. It has substance that reminds you are wearing a premium timepiece, and it has a strap to match. You can see the sheer cut of its flanks, so it has a little bit of thickness without actual bolstering. Nice and slim. You can see it pulls straight down, so if you do have that smaller wrist, it can easily curve around, and it's of a very high quality with a rectangular scale alligator leather. The color, lest there be some distortion in the light box, is a dark brown that beautifully complements the warmth of the rose gold, and of course on the underside, calf skin, very supple against the skin, and a historically appropriate pin buckle for easy on-the-fly adjustability, likewise in rose gold. Now, the dial of the watch is matched with a case that's historically inspired but surprisingly nuanced, and I'll explain how each one of these elements achieves that. You can see just the faceting of the lugs is rather complex, with a tapered bevel along its flank, polished sides, polished hoods, a little bit of compound curvature, and a downturned facet on the bottom. Likewise, the flanks of the case feature a longitudinal satin graining, quite beautiful, contrasting nicely with the polish of the caseback and the polish of the bezel. There's also a nice crease along the flank of the bezel where it turns from an angle to a vertical orientation. Very handsome. Now, you'll note that the dial of the watch, at first glance, seems a little bit cool, but then you start to notice the elements that, like I said, create a little bit of nuance, or perhaps even a great deal. Starting with the rehaut, which is actually the flange of the bezel. The inner flange of the bezel features little luminescent dots outboard of each hour marker. Now, this is a tribute to the original 1958 Geophysics luminescent dots, which were mounted on the interior of the acrylic crystal. These, of course, not mounted on the sapphire, but mounted within the bezel itself, achieve much the same aesthetic effect. Now, you'll also note all of the applied rose gold hour markers, as well as the hands at center, are a nice warm complement to the warmth of the rose gold case and the corresponding warmth of the dark brown alligator leather strap. There's a little bit of austerity to the dial until, again, you realize the nuance. It has a very subtle graining to it. It's not brushed, it's not satin, it's not sunburst. It just has a little bit of texture that creates differentiation and surface interest, such that it glows in direct light rather than exploding as does a sunburst. And of course, there's a beautiful applied JL logo at 12 o'clock and a rose gold frame for the date window. Now, it's important to note that the watch features a unique function such that you can rapidly adjust the hour hand as you jump forward or backward between time zones. You'll note the deadbeat seconds, or in Jaeger-LeCoultre parlance, the true seconds hand continues to beat as the balance continues oscillating even as you're using the time zone function. And that's thanks to the caliber 770. Now, it's based on the caliber 975 auto tractor, but what sets this one apart is that it does have that true second function. The true second function, you can actually see it in action under a loop on the caseback. It runs off the escape wheel, and there's a set of apparatus that channels the jumping second intermediate pulses to the center, where it ultimately manifests as a 1 hertz jump on the dial. But it's interesting because the watch has 2 distinct heartbeats. So when you put it up against your ear, you do hear the 4 hertz beat of the balance, so the 8 beats per second, but you also hear the 1 jump each second of the jumping seconds function. So again, 2 distinct heartbeats in one watch. Full balance bridge, 36 joules. The watch does feature a free-sprung balance for additional stability. In concert with the balance bridge, it makes for a very hardy movement that takes and holds a precise regulation and is very unlikely to be shocked out of chronometric precision. Moreover, innovations from past Jaeger-LeCoultre Extreme Lab watches in the form of the discontinuous yoke-shaped Gyro-Lab balance. You can see it. It's discontinuous, it's not a circle, and each side of the yoke actually consists of a horizontally opposed JL corporate logo. This aids aerodynamics, which over the course of an entire day, well over 80,000 seconds, does add up. Unidirectional winding, ceramic rotor bearings, extremely efficient, 40-hour power reserve, and of course, as noted, a hacking seconds function. You can see and you can purchase this Jaeger-LeCoultre Geophysic True Second on our website.